In this movie, we're going to draw a series of custom guides inside of Illustrator, every one of which is a rectangle, as you can see here. We're going to draw them in a slightly different order, however. The order that we're seeing them created here inside the diagram is useful for diagramming purposes, but not quite the best for drawing purposes. And these guides, by the way, are going to help us locate other elements of the rocket as well as draw that custom path outline with the pen tool. All right, I'm going to switch over to Illustrator once again. And of course, we're seeing our document in progress. And then I'm going to go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to click on the guides layer to make it active so that we're isolating these new guides from the shapes themselves. All right, now I'm going to return to my rectangle tool, which has a keyboard shortcut of M after the rectangular marquee tool that's available to us in Photoshop. And now go ahead and click on that bottom left anchor point that's associated with the existing rectangle to bring up the rectangle dialog box. And a width value of 104 is just fine. In fact, we want this shape to be a square, so go ahead and change the height value to 104 points as well and click OK, and we get exactly the rectangle that we're looking for. Now I want to create a new rectangle right here at this location, upward and off to the left. But I can't click at this location because it's a handle here inside of Illustrator CC. To get rid of that, just go ahead and press Control-Shift-A or Command-Shift-A on the Mac to deselect the rectangle, and now you're back in business. I'll go ahead and click at this location, and this time I'm going to dial in some different values. I'm going to change the width value to 82 points, and I'm going to take the height value down to 38 points. And then I'll click OK, and we end up with this pretty small rectangle. It's not positioned at the right location, however, so I'll go ahead and switch back to the black arrow tool. And I'd like to see you get in the habit of using the keyboard shortcuts. It's V, which is an upside down arrow for the black arrow tool, and it's A for arrow for the white arrow tool. Anyway, I'm going to press the V key to get the black arrow tool, which allows me to modify whole objects in Illustrator. And then I'll go ahead and drag the rectangle by its bottom right anchor point. Again, the bounding box has to be turned off for this to work. And then go ahead and snap it into alignment at the intersection of the vertical guideline and the bottom of that most recent rectangle. And just to confirm everything's the way it should be, go ahead and click on the word transform up here in the control panel, and then select the bottom right point in a reference point matrix. And you should see an X value of 480 points and a Y value of 400. In which case, everything's the way it should be. So just go ahead and press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac so that Illustrator doesn't get mixed up and move your shape. In other words, pressing the Escape key can goof things up. All right, now we want to draw a new rectangle from this location outward. So I'll go ahead and switch my rectangle tool once again, and I'm going to go ahead and click at really any old location here inside the document, and I'm going to change the width value to 94 points, and then I'll take the height value to 114 points this time and click OK. And now you want to press the V key to switch back to the black arrow tool, drag the new rectangle by its upper right anchor point, and snap it into alignment with the upper left corner of this most recently drawn square in order to produce this effect here. So you should see that your new rectangle dips down just a little bit. All right, now what I'm going to do is take this square, this 104 by 104 point square, and I'm going to drag it by its lower right anchor point this time around until it snaps into alignment with the lower left point of the most recent rectangle, at which point you want to press and hold the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac. And notice that the cursor is now a double arrow, which shows me that I'm going to create a copy of that square at this new location. All right, finally, you want to switch back to the rectangle tool. Notice you're going to see a bunch of handles. We don't want that. So press Control-Shift-A or Command-Shift-A on the Mac in order to deselect the shape. And then click right there at the lower left corner of this newest square in order to bring up the rectangle dialog box, set the width value to that familiar 104 points, and then change the height value to 32 points and click OK. All right, we need to create just one more rectangle. So I'll press the V key to switch back to the black arrow tool, and I'm going to create this rectangle right here so that it aligns to the bottom of the ellipse. And I'm going to do so by duplicating my most recent rectangle. So what you want to do is drag it by its center point like so, then drag it up so it snaps into alignment with the bottom anchor point of the ellipse, and then press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac so that we're creating a copy of the shape, and then drop it into place. Now, it's not located exactly where it should be. You can go ahead and drag this guy up by the bottom of that edge right there so that it snaps like so. This is ultimately where the shape wants to be, but it wants to be a little taller. And so what I'm going to do is click on the word transform up here in the control panel once again. Go ahead and select this bottom point, the bottom middle point in the reference point matrix, and confirm that your X value is 482 and that your Y value is 218. That's exactly what we want. We do want a width value of 104 points so that it fills the width of the rocket, but I want to take the height value here up to 38 points, and I'm doing that just by pressing the up arrow key. And because this bottom point in the reference point matrix is selected, the bottom of the shape remains stationary, and we're just increasing the height of the shape upwards. So once you get a height of 38 points, go ahead and press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac to implement that change. All right, now the last thing we need to do is convert these plain old ordinary rectangles into custom snapping guides. And you do that by first selecting all of those rectangles, which you can do by clicking on this little wedge in the upper right corner of the layer inside the Layers panel. And notice that will select all of those rectangles. Then go up to the View menu, choose Guides, and choose Make Guides in order to convert all the rectangles to invisible snapping guides. And then you can go ahead and click on the Base Shapes layer because we are now done with the creation of our custom guides here inside Illustrator.